Hey guys, Sam here at NOIZ Studios. Thanks for checking the video out. Today I want to show you how we can use saturation to get real sustain out of some drums. I've got a beat that I'm working on here. It's kind of just in the early stages. I'm just getting a few ideas down using some sample packs, and it occurred to me that the kick and snare didn't really have much life to them. And I thought instead of reaching for reverbs and sticking a load of buses, I thought I'd go for a saturator and see what I can do with it. So this is the Kit Plugins BB N105 version 2. This is the Channel Strip, the Blackbird Studios emulation, and it's adding some real length, some sustain, some grit, some dirtiness. It's just making these drums come alive. Take a listen before and then take a listen after. Let's check out what's going on. So first of all, I want to say that the snare is the one that's got the most obvious effect. So we're going to go to that one first. Let's take a listen to this snare bus as it stands. So I've got this instance of the Channel Strip on just one snare because I liked the snare. I thought it was cool. It kind of added a little something. Let's take a listen to it without the saturation on. It's cool, it's a clap, and it's kind of working quite well with the other snare, which is a bit of a fatter thing. But to me, the clap didn't have enough sustain to it. It wasn't really, there was no length to it, and reverb wasn't really what I was looking for. I just wanted some maximum kind of tail there. So have a look what I'm doing in this plugin. First and foremost, I'm just using the saturation. I'm not using any of the EQs at all. I am on the kick, but we'll come to that in a moment. I'm just using this saturation. So to bring the saturation in, all you need to do is flick this little line or mic button. And it's not the case that this mic line button actually brings the saturation into play. That button is just underneath the saturation button. But this means that you're going to get kind of the mic preamp sound as opposed to just the desk line sound. This is going to break up just a little bit easier, and it's also going to mean that the auto gain functions are enabled. So that's really handy to have. And if you want to level match this so that as the input goes up and saturates more and the output comes down, you can just tick this little auto gain button. I've not in this instance because I needed to do some overall leveling because it was bringing up the signal considerably. Let's take a listen to it without and then take a listen to it with, and we'll just mess with this gain control and see what kind of saturation we can get out of it. So before and then, such sustain. If I bring it up even more, we're getting even more. If you just bring it down from, let's go to auto gain for a moment. Let's just take this down to Unity and then bring this one up as well and slap that auto gain on just so we can get a kind of level matched version. Let's take a listen to what this is adding as we bring this gain up into the saturation essentially. A little more. You can hear there, it's really starting to add some sustain. Let's go crazy. Loads. I kind of settled that I liked it around this kind of area maybe. And then what I've done is actually just take the auto gain off and bring up the level a touch because it's adding a little bit of overall level. Let's bring that down. Okay, before, after, before, after. It's just adding such a great amount of sustain, some grit, some top end, a little bit of what you might call distortion, but I'm preferring to call it a saturation kind of effect because it's just kind of bringing that level up into the point at which it would start to saturate on a normal desk, and it's just taking advantage of that. Let's bring this up maybe a touch just to get a little bit more of that goodness. Nice. Before and after again. I love that. You can hear how much life and body it's adding to that snare. So let's take a look at the kick. Now I'm doing something slightly different on the kick because I am actually using the EQ on the Channel Strip. So let's take a listen to how it sounds without it. I'm just going to mute this second one for a moment so we can just listen to this first one. Let's hear it without and then with. Pretty lackluster. But then with it, it just adds like some body, some sustain without it again. Nice. And I'm actually adding a considerable amount of high end, like 11.7 dB at 4.5K. And then I'm taking out some of the bottom end as well, because I kind of felt like if I'm using all this saturation, it's potentially going to distort that bottom end, which I don't necessarily want. But you can just flick this EQ in and out as well, so you can hear exactly what's going on. So here it is without the EQ, and then I'll bring it in again. It's just adding a nice little bit of kind of slap to it. So I thought that worked really well. Let's take a listen to it again. Just focus on the kick this time. I'm going to take that saturation off and then bring it in. So it's not so much that it's lengthening it quite that much. I'm using the EQ in collaboration with the saturation, adding some slap, adding a little bit of airiness, adding a little bit of tail, and just giving it some niceness. Now, as I'm listening to this, I'm hearing those synths. Let's just solo those synths. We've got a lead, and then we've got kind of a beep sound. Just the beat. Let's try it on that. Let's see if we can kind of lengthen that out a little bit. So I'm going to bring this up a new instance. Let's go to auto gain. I'm going to go to mic and just bring this up and just see what happens, see what it sounds like. See if we can get some tail, some length, some sustain to it. Nice. Some real kind of distortion there. All right, let's bring it in the track, see what it sounds like before and then after. Nice, so it's just bringing the level up slightly and adding a little bit of a sheen on top of it. I could go crazy and add a load of EQ onto this as well, but it's kind of whatever you want to do. To me, with that beep sound, that's kind of enough just to bring it up a little bit, just to bring a little bit of that dirt out and just make it a little bit more present in the mix. I'm not going crazy with EQ. You could do if you wanted to, but to me, that just brings it up another level. So now let's take a listen to the whole thing before and after without any of those instances of the channel strip on kick, snare, or beep, and then we'll bring them in and we'll hear the whole mix just kind of come to life. Just goes to show you that saturation can be used for so many different uses. It's not just about kind of gritting up a signal. You can add sustain, you can add some presence, you can add that EQ in the channel strip as well, which is really handy to have there. I hope that's been useful for you. Give it a try in your productions, see how you get on. I'll see you again soon. Take care.